without repeating one of the songs. And in 3 days, I received a letter from Columbia Artist Management with the itinerary for 35 concerts until the end of March. We became friends and workers together, but she wanted to meet my family, you know, and my wife and my two children. Mm-hmm. And they loved Camilla from the first day.
My husband's name was Charles Beavers. I'm Mrs. Beavers. Charlie and I married in 1950. See, I met Boris in 48. 2 years later, Charlie and I got married. And when Boris and Lonnie were made citizens, Charlie and I were their witness.
This is F minor.
I am a poor pilgrim of sorrow. I'm lost in this wide world alone.
It was spring already, and we started a southern tour. The first concert was in Washington, and after Washington, we had to take the train. And Camilla said, now you are going to sit in the front of the couch, and I have to go in the back. I said, why? I said, we traveled all the way to San Francisco, and we were together in the coach. And no, yeah, but she said, this is the Mason-Dixon line. So you have to do. I said, no, Camilla, I am not an American citizen. I have my Bulgarian passport with the American visa, and these laws don't apply to me.
We went into the dining room, and I had to go behind the curtain during segregation. You had to eat behind the curtain. And one lady said, why is that white gentleman sitting behind the curtain with that black cow? And all I could do was cry. You know, I cried for years because I never knew how to answer people. I used to answer them with my tears. And so Boris said, Camilla, don't let that lady hurt you. And I finally stopped crying. But you see, that's the way times were then. But I've heard of a city called heaven. I'm striving to make it my home. Our travels took us all over until I went to Europe in 54. But you see, Boris had his own studio and his own students, and he was raising these two fine young fellas of his. And when you have children, it's hard to travel.
But we stay in
touch.
In touch all the time. And my wife, of course, was like a sister
and
with
Boris,
Camilla.
my husband, and Boris were like two brothers.
My boys loved Charlie, and my wife loved Charlie. And when we heard her sister called to tell us that Charlie died, my wife was on the telephone. She screamed, Charlie's dead. She could not believe it, you know. She cried. She cried with tears.
We were all a unit. We were all.
It was a friendship that, without any restriction, he belonged to you.
That's my Charlie. He passed away at 49. It's young. That's when I came out here to Indiana. See, I came here 77, 78. And they wrote an article when I first came, being the first black professor of voice here.
Elizabeth, this was the newest...
I've been here almost 30 years. Oh, how thanks you should give. It is.
December 12, 99.
Yes.
Yeah.
His son, Michael, called me and said, Camilla, Mama passed away. I thought he was really talking about Boris. You understand?
Yeah.
Because I had just heard from her. She had just sent me a Christmas card. And so that was really tough.
The morning before she died, she told me, I think my time has come.
And so after poor Lonnie passed, his son, Rosvigor, called, and they had been looking for senior citizen places for Boris to go. He said, Camilla, I think it'd be wonderful if Father would come and be with you. I said, boy, that's a blessing. Boris! And so that's how Boris came to be with me after Lonnie passed away. So this is Boris's bedroom. I said, this was my guest room. I had it very frilly. And then when And then when Boris came, my niece said, Aunt Camilla, take some of those frilly things out and make it more macho.
This is the walker.
Oh, that's it for exercising.
This is the exercise.
Look at Boris exercising. Look. You better get off now. That's enough.
That's enough?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't want you to wear yourself out. Mm-hmm.
Obedient.
Boris's sons knew that he had to go somewhere where he'd have friendship and be able to play the piano. And Boris loves to cook.
Yeah.
He's an excellent cook.
I have to cook?
No, but you're an excellent cook. Really?
It is for my sons. It was a great relief, to see me not alone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, that looks good.
These are the best pancakes that I have eaten.
Wunderbar. Ausgezeichnet. Prima.
A plus?
You get an A plus.
A plus.
Mm-hmm. I think there's all kind of love. There's romantic, and then there is friendship. And I thank the Lord every night for the friendship of Boris.
There's no doubt that there is a family connection between all kinds of love. And you feel it in terms of the sacrifice that you are willing to make for people you love and your absolute commitment and devotion to them. And I think that's the crossover between religious love, love of spouse, children, family, and also the love of friends.
We can imagine in terms of a hierarchy of love, but I wonder what you'd put at the top.
I think unconditional love is an ideal that we would like to be able to love unconditionally, but most of us have too much investment in what we want. Love is so often mixed with desire, and we want to be loved. We want our children, for example, to be what we would like them to be. We want them to be the best that they can be. And if parental love, I suppose, in some ways is the closest we come to unconditional love, because we tend to love them even when they do what we don't like.
Parents and children. In most cases, a love of infinite measure. But can it be unconditional? The Johnson family lives in Minnesota.
Music is one of my biggest passions. I play bass guitar. I also play acoustic guitar and electric guitar. The main places where we play was Depot Coffee House. It's a student-run thing. We love jamming. Art is at its best when it's just collaborative, when it's just spur of the moment, where you try new things. But that's what it's all about, is experimentation.
Brian came out being his own person. Brian has never been one to go with the flow. If everybody's doing something, you know, there's a little bit, you know, you do what your friends do, but he has real conviction.
When I got my ear pierced, beforehand I knew my parents really weren't okay with that. I talked to them a couple times about it, and they brushed it off, thinking, okay, yeah, it's just a phase, because all of us go through phases in our lives.
Just had gone to a mall or someplace and just had had it in, didn't say anything, walked in, and whoa, wait, come here, let's talk, you know.
He was pretty mad. Because he grew up in a different time. Nowadays, people accept things a lot more openly.
We had quite a discussion about it. You know, our thoughts were that, you know, it was not necessarily a good thing to do because it makes people look at you a little bit differently.
He says, now, Ryan, did you get it pierced on the correct ear? Because now people are going to think that you're gay. I said, Dad, I know who I am. It doesn't matter who people think I am. Because if they truly get to know me, they'll realize that I am who I am.
Children definitely have their own challenges. As they grow up, they make bad decisions. We realize that, and we try to use those as what they call learning moments. And of course, they don't always like to listen to their parents.
He's put a few worry lines on my forehead, but he's also provided me a lot of laugh lines. Thank you.
I'm a cross-country runner. I used to play football. I prefer cross-country, though. What I like about being in nature is everything gives off a vibration. Everything has its own atmosphere, you could say. When you go up and you touch a tree, you don't just feel bark, you feel life. You can actually feel the life pulsating off it. Everything has a vibration.
I am very privileged to be a pastoral minister here at St. Mary of the Lake Church. There was a time I had wanted to be a nun. I loved God so much. Church worship is very important to all of us. And my husband, who is a very wonderful man, good Christian, he's Lutheran, he's not Catholic. The rest of us are Catholic. And my mother had suggested that I invite Lee to change, to convert to Catholicism. There's not much difference. And she says, you got to do it before you get married, because you can't change him afterward. I didn't dare ask him to change, because faith and a belief system are at your very core. And if